Hey, so I wanted to take a second and talk about this new product that I got here recently. I'm pretty happy with. It's the Simplifier MK2 by DSM Humboldt. It's a 0-watt amplifier, so it has all the control surface of a normal amplifier, but is not putting out any power, which is actually one of the things that I was really interested in about. So just a quick run over of the surface of it here. We have treble, mid, bass, just like you would expect to find on any amplifier. Then this Pregain right here is pretty interesting. I think the first version was kind of just like the clean versions of each of the amps that you have featured here. But let's see, we have clean, if it's all the way to the left. Warm is right around 11, 12 o'clock. Driven is around this range here. And then you have the high gain, if it was, say, all the way up. And just like any amplifier, it's going to be a little noisy if you were to do that with it. I kind of like the warm to clean, to be honest there, and then just run drive pedals through, which that's one of my plans for this thing. It's a great pedal platform. After that, you've also got the power amp right there, which can be run as linear, warm, compressed, or distorted there as well. So these switches right here in between all of that control the preamp type or the power amp type. And the AC Brit would be, say, like based off of a Vox amp. The USA would be based off of Fender, and MS Brit is going to be a Marshall amp there. So you also have the resonance and presence control, which I think if the amp doesn't come with a presence control, then you would just have it all the way up, and that would be kind of the stock sound there. And then, of course, your master volume. Now, before I get over to this stuff on this side, I just want to point out some of this down here with this part. So you have your input, just one in, and then the send for the effects send is going to be just a single TS out. It doesn't send in stereo, but it returns in stereo, which is interesting there. So that part, like the send, would come after the power drive, I believe. So getting the preamp, the tone stack, and then the power amp there. And what was really the most interesting to me, again, before I get to this part about this, was all the routing options with it that I could have on my pedal board. So on the back, you've got your regular outs, right and left. And of course, if the switch is on that side, you're sending right and left. But if you have this left one selected over that direction, then it's through. And that would literally just be like the input bypassing all the controls, sending it straight out. So that would be something you could do if you were running it with an amp or trying to get a dry signal for recording out of this. That could be an option. I'm probably just going to keep it on the left here. But then this side here on the right, you could have it where you're getting all these controls that I just laid out there, and then none of this on the side with the bypass part there. So that's probably, honestly, the way that I'm going to be using this, would be plugged in like that. And of course, I should point out the aux in and headphones. It's really handy practicing this with the headphones late at night. It sounds and feels very natural, but with no volume other than what you're putting through the headphones. And it gets pretty loud, so I try not to go too much above this. Pretty low wattage or milliamps minimum rating there for this, so not going to be too power hungry or anything. Now, to get to this part here, so the stereo cab sim. This is one of the new features in the MK2 version, whereas before it was just kind of like a microphone simulation, whether it's on axis or off axis to get work. But they changed that feature and put it where you have like a black face speaker there, you've got a blue kind of replicated speaker there, and then you've got the green back, which would be like the Marshall there. So again, that's going to be kind of like the Fender and the Vox and the Marshall typical speakers there. And you even have this switch here, which is pretty cool, which would send it from a combo feel to a twin, say 2 10s, 2 12s, I assume, and then a full stack. And I most of the time am just using the full stack part of it there. But, you know, I pointed that out on the back. That's just a cool feature, but it's really, for me, all about this and being able to come DI out of this. I've really just been using the left so far. I'm sure that I'll get into the stereo as well. But I wanted to just kind of make a video going over some of this before I start running things into it, so I don't have to focus on so many of those features when I'm actually trying it out. But I'm sure I'll be pointing out new things. Oh, can't forget that this version, the MK2, comes with built-in reverb, and it is digital. The rest of the whole unit is analog, but it doesn't really affect the sound. I think it's kind of a sidechain thing where it is digital, but it's also got your analog sound that should remain unaffected there. So, like I said, I'll be running pedals through this thing. I was gonna try having a setup where I could just run different guitars and different pedals through a Fender, a Vox, and a Marshall. And this just makes it so much easier where I don't have to have all that stuff out and taking up room. I mean, it's literally, for size reference, here's a Korg, old Korg tuner. It's barely bigger than this. Boss DS1 pedal. Let's see. I mean, it's incredible how much they were able to pack into this, and that it's not digital or anything either. So I'll probably do a sound test as well, but really just wanted to try a bunch of things out on this before I get it fully integrated into my pedal board. I've tried it with an HX Stomp. It's great. I'll be spending a lot of time doing that, but a few other things as well. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll make some more videos using the MK2.